Have you ever wondered if you've been called into the ministry? Let me use Exodus 36:2 to give you some insight into the call of God and how he communicates that to people. First off, it says in verse 2, "Then Moses called Bezaleel and Aholiab, and every gifted artisan, in whose heart the Lord had put wisdom, everyone whose heart was stirred to come and do the work." First off, God's representative, his leader, Moses in this case, who was a prophet lawgiver, he's the one who called. He recognized the call of God in some people. He had an assignment from the Lord to do something, and then he called the ministers the Lord had already chosen and prepared in advance. Now, Bezaleel's name in the Hebrew is fascinating because it means in the shadow of the protection of God. Aholiab's name means the Father's tent. So these are the two dudes that the Lord called from before they were formed. It says that in Psalm 139, verse 14 through 16. It says, "Before you were formed, I had you in my heart." It says, "These days were created for you." God calls everyone with a purpose. And in this case, their names describe their purpose, because they were called to build the tabernacle that Moses saw upon the mountain. The tabernacle of Moses. And what marked that tabernacle once it was built and once God inhabited that place? A flame of fire by day and a cloud of covering during the day and a flame of fire by night. It was a covering over everything, just like Bezaleel's name. And it was also, they built a tent, a tabernacle, which is what Aholiab, the Father's tent. Anyway, what I'm saying is, God calls people from before you were born in the womb, before you were even formed or created. God had a plan for your life, and so the challenge is to discover that. Now, with that call, God deposits something in you. It says, "And every gifted artisan," that word gifted means wisdom in the Hebrew, and artisan's fascinating because the English translated artisan, but the truth is, 593 times in Scripture, that same word in the Hebrew, leb, is translated as heart. And it says, so the Lord has gifted, he has deposited wisdom in the heart, in whose heart the Lord put wisdom. So it's almost like God saying it twice again. Everyone whose heart was stirred. Now this is fascinating because the word stirred, it literally means in the Hebrew to burn. Does your heart burn with a vision and a passion to serve in our Father's house? Because it says this, God has put wisdom in the heart of man. Everyone who's stirred, their heart burns to come and do the work. Now, this is a personally very encouraging word to me, because when it talks about wisdom, see, one of the things I discovered that I have is a gift of wisdom. And I learned something today about watching for the characteristics of wisdom. It says in here, this word here, where it's translated wisdom, it means skillful, wise, or wisdom and wit. So it makes me think of the Proverbs scripture where we talk about God gives people these ideas for witty inventions. It's wise. There's a wisdom, a skill set God imparts. And so oftentimes one of the characteristics you can watch for when it comes to the gift of wisdom is witty humor, word plays, or a skill that's very unique when it comes to developing artistic work. It can be skilled depending upon the call. And those skill sets help determine where they are called to serve. For example, the place where I have wisdom is when it comes to strategy and plans. And so at the same time, one of the characteristics is also I have a fun gift of word plays and of humor that's unique. Anyway, I hope that's been a blessing to you. If you feel like you're called of God, I'd like you to mention that in the comments. And also, if you feel like you're called, but you don't have a way to accomplish that, well, let us know in the comments as well. And I would also invite you to come over and visit Kingdom League and see if there might be some way we can serve you. Anyway, I pray the Lord bless you, keep you. I pray you fulfill the purpose our Father made you for, that he might be glorified and your destiny might be fulfilled. Bless you.